Hi Bakers, how are you? I was just about getting ready to figure out what I was going to do for the day. I think I'm going to dig a whole bunch. I think I might work on some bees some more. And I'm probably going to move my multi-block miner. Hi Melly. No, I don't want chat to be in emote only mode. I need to remember to fix that. I don't remember not doing that. Thank you, Melly. Sorry about that, guys. Welcome in, Melly, and how are you? So we've got all this ore that we've dug up with our automated miner. And I'm going to take it in here and I'm going to get it processing, since this has been processing all the other ores that it had access to before. And of course, that means that it's got more space to process the new stuff. Lots and lots of new stuff to process. Once I get these compressed chests unloaded, I'm probably gonna get that multi-block miner moved to another corner of the new area where I'm building a building, and then I'll start digging out the corner that's already been mined out and get down to the lower portions of the world, so that when I finally have all my bricks, I can build a brick building. Well, thank you for checking in. Have a great lunch. And thank you for stopping by, Bakers. All the stuff and things. And more stuff. These chests are really, really nice for moving things. Hi, Shiro. Have a nice lurk. I hope you're still having fun in your stream. Is it getting to the point where, nope, it's not done yet. And another chest is empty. I suspect that this one will fill up the system. All of its buffer space will be full, and then it'll be time to go move the miner. And then we can start digging a gigantic hole to have for our gigantic building to go into. Not done? Done? Which one are you? Undecided? Automated ore processing makes the game go easier. Where is it still finding space for that stuff? Huh. It's taking it and it's refilling it at the same time. So, it's done, essentially. So we're done in there. We'll go back to the automated miner and take it apart. All the modded stuff. So these are essentially buffer chests for when the miner is working. And these little pipe-looking things are conduits that move the items around automatically for you. This is a much higher speed item moving pipe, but also more costly to use. And then we've got the miner that's going to be taken down now. Take it down from the top down. This isn't required, but it is the way I think about it, so this is the way I do it. And then there's a little bit of cleanup over here to do to not waste resources, because a variety of these things will be full of different fluids and other things that we don't want to throw away. For example, these little turbines have fuel in them to power them. And I want to keep all that fuel because it takes effort to create it. Although I do have it on automation, it still takes time, and if I wanted more fuel, I would have to set up more automations. So just keeping them around is easier and better. Did I empty out the bottom one? I did. Okay, good. And of course the various turbines are connected via wires to the big machine that does all the mining. So we got to pick those up too to reuse them. And that uses a slightly different tool to do that. Now this particular box, when I pick it up, because it's full of creosote oil, will actually poison me. So I pick it up, I put it away, And I use Terrawort to clean up the poison so that I stop losing hunger. This brewery has 2 fluids in it and also some redstone. So we'll get rid of the redstone going in, and we'll put the redstone away, and then we'll drain out those 2 fluids. And we'll pick it up. The transformer isn't going to have anything in it. This tank doesn't have anything in it. And these pipes still do have things in them, so we'll clean that up before we empty those. Before we pick them up, I should say. And I picked up the stone dust before I turned off the ability for it to pump more in. And it's sleepy time, almost. So we'll go ahead and sleep so we don't get a whole bunch of mobs. And we'll stick all this stuff in here to put it away for now. And we'll come back to it shortly. The redstone we can just pick up and stick in here. These conduits are empty, so we can pick them up. The mixer's not empty yet, so we'll continue working on getting that cleaned up. It's got drilling fluid in it, so we'll pick the drilling fluid up. And same with the other side, with more drilling fluid. We'll pick it up all too. And that'll clear out that conduit. We'll pick up this machine. And we'll pick up this machine full of water. Pick up those. Put those away. Put the stone dust away. Or... oh, it's full. Don't put the stone dust away because it's full. We'll pick this up with a chest carrier. So we don't have 64 stacks of stone dust trying to fill up our inventory. Pick up this reservoir. And then pick up the rest of this machine. And put all of it away. Now we've got some dirt to clean up. So we'll take care of that real shortly here. And pick up all this. You have to keep the machines covered so that when it starts raining they don't have problems, because water and electricity don't mix well. And in this, that means that when you mix them, they actually blow up, which is highly exciting but not particularly useful. Now we'll show where the chunk borders are so I can get the right spot when it comes to the next one. come over here. Let's see. Oh, it's that one over there. And we'll build the same sort of platform over here for the next one. And we'll use a builder's wand because that saves a whole lot of time. And we'll get this set up. And then it'll start digging out all the ores for us. Let's see here, what size did I make this? 5, 6, 7, 8. So too big. Because I wanted 9 by 9. Not 10 by 10. And of course we'll light it up because we don't want spawns here either. Okay, that should be high enough. And we'll build out a similar platform up here. I should say a temporary platform. And we'll turn off the distracting chunk boundaries because we don't need those anymore. And we'll finish putting this down. Did I do that right? I'm not sure I made this one square. Well, that answers that question, doesn't it? Try again. And then the miner will be centered on there. This is the top, not the bottom. So we need to try that again, because the miner needs to be covered but doesn't need anything underneath it. And since we're getting hungry, we'll eat some food. And then move on to other things. Start with this chest that we put all the parts and pieces into. And we'll start building this back up. Getting all the pieces that we put on the bottom layer back in order to set them back down and start the process of putting them back in. These multi-block miners are pretty complicated machines, I guess. They've got a maintenance hatch where you have to set them up and do maintenance on them before you can start using them. We've got a variety of other bits and bobs, including the controller and various inputs and outputs. Did I put the output on the wrong side? I did put the output on the wrong side. I'll try that again. We're going to put the output on this side, where the item pipe will fill up the chests. We'll put these energy inputs in here, the ore drilling fluid input here, and then the mining pipes input there. We'll set this on top, and we'll get out the rest of the frame. Don't need the wand right now. Do want to get all this set up correctly so that we can have, once again, automated mining of all the space beneath us. So how's everybody's Sunday doing? Get the water set up. One of these has water in it. This one does. Time to sleep again. It's windy, the sun is out, so not a bad day to go to the park. Excellent! I hope you're having fun at the park. Might not have been an ideal place to put that. We'll move it over there. Now this water reservoir, once you add water to it, it will generate more water. But you have to start it off with a couple of buckets of water. Which kind of makes sense, because you know you can make an infinite source in normal Minecraft by just having 2 source blocks as well in a shape like that. And then if you right click this with a wrench, it will fill up adjacent inventories that have the ability to hold water, which this storage tank does. And then we need to make drilling fluid again. So we'll look up the way to do that, since I don't have that memorized. And we'll store that on our NEI system so it tells us what we need to do to get that. And then we'll get the machine that's appropriate for it, which is the mixer, which we have right here. And we'll get the transformer to get the power to the right voltage for it. We'll get the power sources, and we'll get out the wires, and we'll start hooking all this back up. The wires get connected to the inputs for the drilling plant. The turbines connect to the wires. And use the wire cutters to attach the wires to the turbines. And if you do it right the first time, it's a little easier. Oh, it's not connecting because I don't have the dot on the right face. So I'll put the right face down, and now it'll connect. And same thing over here, the dot's facing me instead of down, so we'll connect that appropriately and get that wire connected. And then with water, we'll need an item pipe and a mixer. So we'll put this turbine next to these turbines. We'll use the mixer temporarily to just as a space holder. And we'll turn him facing this way. And we'll put the transformer up against that turbine and face its dot the correct direction so it has the right power there. We will put the mixer on the transformer to get power for it, and then pipe in the water, which was using these water cells in order to move it around. Grab the item conduit. It will move the water for us. And that attached to the tank as we needed. We'll use the white channel for inserting and extracting the cells. We'll put the cells into the mixer. We'll get out our wrench, the Yeta wrench from Ender.io, to apply the white insert and extract here for putting in the water cells. So the water cell will empty in here into the craft, and then it'll be used up, and it will be sent out to this tank to get more water, where that'll be filled, and then it'll be sent back over to the mixer to be used again. And then we need stone dust to come in. Our stone dust is in this dolly. We'll put another input in right here, and we'll put our stone right there. And then we'll set this to insert the stone as well, and it should start doing that for us. So if this is the side we want extracting on, and inserting over here, and now there's stone coming in. So that's 2 of the ingredients needed. Then we'll need lubricant, and lubricant is made using the brewing machine. And the recipe we're using is creosote and redstone, which is right here. So we'll set that there. We'll get the brewery. And put this extra stone dust away. Maybe. Set the brewery on top of the transformer so it has power as well. Get that chest that we had redstone in, and the redstone. And we'll put that chest attached to the brewery, so the brewery has access to the redstone. And get that inserting as well. Extract from the chest, insert into the machine, and the redstone will go in. And then this machine needs creosote. I think we have a slight amount of it. And we'll put the lubricant back into the machine that was using it. So the mixer will use the lubricant. And then we will get the tank so that we can put the lubricant in the tank so we don't waste any. And we'll need this fluid conduit in order to move the fluids around. So we need fluid conduit going into this input for drilling fluid. We don't need to connect to the wires. And this needs to lead over to not the not the gas turbine, but the mixer. We'll attach that to the mixer, and we'll set up its usage to extract from the mixer and send it into the input hatch of the driller, so the driller has access to drilling fluid. And then we'll put the drilling fluid we have into the input hatch so it can get started. And this also needs creosote, which we haven't set up yet, so let's get the creosote tank, which once we pick that up it's also going to poison us, so let's get it space prepped for it. It's just going to go directly on top of the brewery, I think. So we'll reset where that's going. Put that there. We got poisoned by the creosote, so we'll get another Terrawort to cure up poison. And we'll set this tank to feeding creosote into the advanced brewery. And then we'll take the excess creosote and we'll put it away. Because we need to move the redstone now, since the top side of that is used for the super tank of creosote, we'll do this over here with this item pipe, this item conduit. We'll use the dolly to move the redstone chest to the top of that, and we'll get this set up to do the extraction and insertion once again. And then it's nighttime again, so we'll sleep. Machine's about set up now. Just a little bit left to do. Got to get the various power machines hooked up so that they can have their fuel going in. And we can use the conduit probe to set up identical connections, so we don't have to have a individual configuration on each one. This does it a little faster. Okay, then we've got the tank. We're going to put the power fluid in, the fuel, and we'll go pick up the fuel that we were going to use. Before we put the fuel into the system and power up all these turbines, we'll make sure that the power that feeds into this part of the system isn't set up wrong. So the medium voltage transformer, it has a facing of towards the power producing turbine, so it says it's facing north, and yeah, that is the north direction, so that's set correctly. And then this needs to face into the transformer, so it needs to be facing south, which it is. These other turbines, if they're connected to the wires, they'll be appropriately set up. Their power dots will be facing the appropriate direction. So that all looks good. We'll add our benzene. We'll set this to extract. And the benzene will go into the various turbines and power everything up, which it's doing. The next step is to get this machine's maintenance going, because right now it says that there's a loose pipe, the screws are also loose, something is stuck in the machine, platings are dented, circuitry is burned out, and that doesn't belong there. So we'll use our tools, our wrench to fix something, our wire cutter to fix the wires, and so forth and so forth, to put all that to rights. Just need a little more space in my inventory for all those tools to make a logical order. And then we'll pick up those tools, our hammer, our soft mallet, our screwdriver, our crowbar, and finally our soldering iron. And we'll go back into the maintenance hatch, and we'll click those in to do all the various maintenances and get this machine to where it will run appropriately. And now if we check the controller, it says that you need to hit it with soft mallet to restart the machine if it doesn't start. Well, we haven't tried to start it, and that it is missing mining pipe. But the mining pipe is actually ready to go. It's just not all the way into the controller's inventory slot yet. So when we power this up, it should just start going. Let's try that out. And it's showing running perfectly. It's showing the mining pipe being used, which means if we look at it from the side, there it goes. It's starting to bore down towards the solid earth beneath it. Hello guys, how are you? Gregtech makes you want to rip out your hair. You can't understand that pack at all. Okay, so Gregtech is a mod, and this is the pack Gregtech New Horizons. Are you saying that the pack New Horizons is really confusing to you? Is that what you mean, Lonely Phaser? And I'm not going to try to pronounce that name. If you have a name you'd like me to call you, please let me know and I'll call you that. Otherwise, maybe I'll call you Roger because that starts with an R. I don't know. But welcome in, guys. I like Gregtech quite a bit. It's the draw for me for Gregtech is the fact that I can play Minecraft and there's always some more stuff to do, if that makes sense. In playing Minecraft without all the extra mods, without all the extra stuff in it, I feel like I run out of things to do pretty quickly. And New Horizons, as far as I understand it, has years of content to it, and they additionally make changes to it regularly. So even if I do run out of things, if I download an update, I'll have even more things to do, which seems pretty cool. Put all these tools away. The various machines are working and making things. They're making the drilling fluid. This one's going to make the lubricant when it's needed, although I haven't hooked up the lubricant yet because I still have some lubricant to put away. So we'll put that there. Actually, well, that'll work. And we'll connect these guys up, although I'll need some more fluid conduit. Bring this in. Extract from the tank where I'm going to put the lubricant and insert into the mixer, and then we'll add the lubricant to that tank and it'll fill into the mixer for us. And then I'm going to do the same thing with drilling fluid, so the drilling fluid will get used up eventually. Do that here. Doesn't need to be connected to that, but it does need to be connected over here. Not for items, but for fluids. We want it to extract, and we want to put this excess drilling fluid into it. Just like so. And then that'll get used up. Similarly to the drilling fluid in here, it'll pick different ones And this will use up tons of drilling fluid, so eventually this will get emptied out. As you can see, it's already being emptied out. The last thing to hook up is the lubricant that needs to go in. So we'll hook those up. But I'm going to need the Yeta wrench in order to get this conduit connected. And we want no connection there, but we want this to extract always active from the brewery. Hello, cat guy. How's it going? Thank you for coming in. How is your day going? Once again, put things away. This is Minecraft. It's all about inventory management after all, right? And what else do we have here? We have all these chests, and we have some redstone, and we have some light sources. And then we have the chunk loader. So let's put this here. Let's reconfigure it a little bit because it's not set up correctly right now. Need the crowbar and the wrench. So we'll connect it to the machine, and we'll connect it to this side. We'll put the conveyor module on the machine side and tell it that we want things to be imported in. And then we'll put one of the boxes over here for it to start putting items into. And there it goes. We'll put these lights up so things are lit up. We'll set one light here. Well, painted glowstone. It looks like stone, but it's actually glowstone. And then we'll put the other torch on top of this chest, this slightly larger chest. Once again, put our tools away. Put this redstone away. And passive anchor. The passive anchor will make sure that this doesn't stop being loaded. And then finally we'll set up our storage so that all of these automatically mined items have a place to go. All right. One of these chests I was using for regular storage, so I want to put that one back in my inventory. Looks like it's nighttime again. Thank you, cat guy. I appreciate that. Is there anything that you're interested in seeing in New Horizons? Or do you just want to hang out? And you're free to hang out. I appreciate the time you're here. And because we had our essentially our glider active when we woke up from being in bed, it glided us right off the platform. Good fun. Yeah, this pack is pretty slow progression, I think. There are people who do really fast progression. I'm not in that camp. I've been playing since approximately August last year, and I'm not going fast. There are people who do, and I congratulate them on doing so. I think if I was just trying to progress all the time, I'd probably burn out. Instead, I'm just taking it slow, trying to enjoy myself, trying to just build things up, learn new things, automate some things, have some fun. Copy the settings from that one and apply it to all these other faces. And then we'll use these to insert. Copy the settings from there and copy it to all of these. And then tell it to fill up this one first. Absolutely. It's going to be a while yet before I get Applied Energistics 2 in this pack. And if you are interested in that, when we get there, I'd be happy to show you all about it. It's a fantastic mod. I think I've said that before. But in New Horizons, they very much gate you away from having it early. I think so that you spend time in the early stages learning the pack. 3 and 2 and 1, and that would leave this one at 0. We'll clean this one out and put it into the other one so that they're filled up in order. This setup really does make a lot of items very, very, very rapidly. And because these weren't empty, I'll have it empty them into the system so that they're in order of their desired placement as opposed to the order that they were just through luck. What part of it feels overly complicated if you were talking about applied energistics? We need some pearls for this passive anchor. So this anchor will chunk load this area when I'm not here. That will protect this from the rain. There's some fuel here to power it. I'm going to need to get some more fuel, it looks like. So we'll go do that real shortly here. But this should just start going and going and going. I believe everything's hooked up. This is empty, which I figured was going to happen pretty quickly, and I'm happy about, so we'll disconnect it and put it away. And then I think the lubricant's still going to have plenty of, because this uses lubricant really, really slowly. But we'll check to make sure all the different turbines have their fuel, which it would be complaining if they didn't, so that works. This is providing water into this. All this needs is more fuel to keep running, so we'll go pick up some more fuel, and it will continue to fill up these chests over time from the resources from beneath. And then we can either go breed some bees so I can get to the blinding speed bees, or we can dig out this hole where I'm planning on putting a gigantic tower. But we definitely want to get this fueled up before we do that. So we'll come over here, we'll grab some fuel. This area will generate more fuel for us over time. I've got that automated and got it going. Back over here, back to the tank for fuel. Looks like I missed the torch up above, so that's fueled up. I want to check to see if I actually missed the torch or if it just looked that way. Yep, I missed the torch up here, so let's get a torch down. Put the screwdriver, or excuse me, put the wrench away. Looks like everything's happy. So this is digging up more ore for us. Over there is processing the ore we already have. And we've got a giant hole to dig here. So we'll get out the hammer for digging, and we'll get to it. Oh, I didn't place torches underneath the miner, so I think I'm going to do that right now, so that under that shadow it won't spawn mobs, possibly. Don't want spawning ever, anywhere. Monsters are bad after all. Gonna need to turn off the particles, because that's annoying. And we'll get this area cleaned up. And start clearing this all out. After all, it is Minecraft, so you should do some mining, right? One, two, three. This vibrant alloy hammer is really nice for mining, and it's got auto smelt on it, so everything that it mines it tries to smelt. And since it's mining up all the stone, cobblestone really, it's able to smelt that into regular smooth stone, or not smooth stone, just stone, and then we can store it up. And speaking of storing it up, I would be filling up my inventory if I don't get out the bags to put it in. So these bags will take the stone and store it for me and not fill up my inventory. And then I can empty those into my storage back at my second base when they get full. Okay. So, more mining. More mining. Yeah, I want to take this area, this whole big area, down to bedrock. I'm having that pick up all the ores, and then I'm going through and getting all the stone myself. I think that in this pack there's a machine that will do this digging for me, but I also think I don't have access to it yet. Can't deploy a sleeping bag. Why not? Okay, daytime again. Good. Sounds like there's a very happy chicken nearby. But it seems like every time I finish building a base, I learn something new about the way I built that base, and I think, oh, I want to build it a little differently. So, my first base was kind of just a hole-in-the-wall temporary place to live, and very quickly it became apparent that that was a rather dangerous place to live. So in order to get rid of my exposure to mobs, I built a base in the sky. But because it was in the sky and there was no mobs, and I was building up there, I ended up in a situation where I should have covered the machines, but I hadn't. So some of my machines blew up, which was not good. So then I made a third base, which you can see up there, part of it. And in those, when I was building them, I took into account all of the previous lessons I'd learned, but I had not had access to the chunk loaders yet. So when I built these, they were not optimized for chunk loaders. So this tower I'm going to build here, I'm going to optimize for chunk loading. And I'm also going to not concern myself with pollution over here like I was in the previous ones, because those have farms. They need to be either low or no pollution. Where this base I'm building over here, this tower, I'm absolutely not going to worry about farms. I'm just going to worry about bees. And with bees, you don't have to worry about pollution as much, I hope. I could be wrong about that, but that's my understanding. Alright, so this path right here has already been dug out for ores. With high-speed tools, sometimes they just dig out too much. Especially if you're not being really careful. Alright. Straight on digging is a lot easier. Or mining, I suppose. What happened here? Let's get that filled in. Alright. Get all this dirt. Get a lot of this gravel. And back to mining the stone. And more dirt. And more gravel. And more stone. Always more. Went too far. Fill that back in and go this way. All the dirt. I don't know where this is going to end, so we'll stop here. Maybe we've gone too far, hopefully not. Dig, dig, dig. The most Minecraft thing to do. Digging out the mines. Or at least that's what they tell me. And a chicken. I wonder whose chicken that is. I suppose when I get to the bottom of the hole, the only animals that will be down there are chickens, because they'll be the only things that can survive the fall. That's kind of humorous. Dig, dig, dig. The most riveting Minecraft content in the world. High-speed digging. But I suppose people watch this all the time. Maybe. Then again, maybe I should be doing bees instead. Conversely, this needs to get done. But is that an argument for doing it on stream? Or is that an argument for doing it off stream? And are those particle effects killing my frame rate? Who knows? It says 0 dropped frames, so that's probably a good thing. All the gravel. More gravel, more gravel. And all the stone. Diggy, diggy stones. Dig too far into the stones. Should make an outline because that would make it easier. Where to end the outline? Maybe here? Why not? Looks like it's pressing on towards the nighttime, which means it'll be time to sleep again. And get her sleep. I should look at where the no, because this, no. Yeah, I don't know. I could look at where the cobblestone goes this direction, and I could estimate where it needs to go this direction. So I'll go look for some. Okay, there's definitely cobble here. So there's probably square. So if we go this way, we can probably go to here safely. Roughly. Which means... yeah, that's about right. Look where all that mining was done for me. Isn't that fun? Not only mining, but ore tripling. Because bigger miner better. Bigger, more complicated miner better. If there's people in chat who want to see bees being bred or ore processing lines being set up, let me know. I could alternatively go to do those things. Right now I'm just getting this mining done because it needs to happen. And no time like the present. What did I run into? Ghost blocks, I suppose. Okay. Cleared that up. Mine too fast, get ghost blocks. Ghost blocks causing all the fun in the world. Hey Major, I'm digging a small hole. What's up with you? Are things going well in your neck of the woods? How'd the, wasn't it your kid that had to go to urgent care recently? How'd that go? Just woke up from a couple-hour migraine nap. Are you better? Is the migraine gone? I don't like the sounds of migraines. Too far. Probably need to stop. Well, that's good. Do you know what caused your migraine, or is it just you get lucky and you get migraines? Gotcha. I suppose if you have to go to urgent care, something for a non-emergency kind of rash is probably a very good reason to go that's not going to cause you mega problems, so it's a happy reason as well. Are we talking like a food allergy, or you got into the wrong trees? What kind of allergy are we talking about? So the building I'm going to put in this little dig I'm making here, I'm expecting to be probably about 150 blocks in height. And then I'm going to have a floor made of bricks every 30 or so Y levels. So it'll be about 5 floors tall. And then I'll have space for all sorts of machines and various storage inside of the 4 chunk by 4 chunk space that I'm going to put inside. And then there'll be a small buffer of like 8 blocks on either side between it and the walls of the opening in the ground. At least that's the thought process. Still need the clay bee to produce all the clay for me to build the bricks. What's giving... Okay. The experience I'm getting from mining is coming from all the stone being smelted automatically by the hammer. And when you smelt stone, you get a little tiny bit of experience, right? So think of the hammer I'm using as having a furnace attached with free fuel. And then I get the experience out of it this way. It won't smelt Gregtech ores. So even if I run into an ore, the biggest issue will be the fact that I'm not getting the massive bonuses from that miner up there, which is trying to mine out all my ores for me. You can see the mining drill pipe coming down and doing the mining for me. All of these, I think this is probably iron, yeah, magnetite iron ore and gold ore. That miner is going to pick up all this and clean it up for me and triple the amount of ore that I would get with a hammer and put it into storage for me. Eventually getting out of this hole will be a challenge, but it's not yet, so that's nice. I haven't decided how I plan on putting stairs or maybe ladders or what on the side of the hole. Have you seen this multi-block miner, Major? Are you at all interested in seeing it? It has a bunch of machines to make drilling fluid and power it, and then it drills down and it pulls the items out of the machine, sticks them into this chest, these conduits pull them out, and then it fills up the storage. And I get lots and lots of stuffs. So much stuff. This is a anchor which does the chunk loading, so even if I leave the general vicinity, this will continue running. These compressed chests I use to transport the ore to ore processing over in my third base, and it takes care of it for me. Is there too little ore in there? I mean, there's a little bit. Got some tin, a little bit of nickel, copper, apatite. Brown limonite is actually more iron. Oil sands will give me iron, or excuse me, oil. Some silver. Whatever tricalcium phosphate is, I don't know what that is. Sounds complicated. But this machine, it takes the ore and it breaks it up and does the initial grinding for me. But then after it does that initial grinding, it triples the amount that I would get from normal grinding through the Gregtech machines. So it really does maximize my yields as far as getting a lot of stuff. This is probably close to the pinnacle of heavy modded. The pack is Gregtech New Horizons. It's been in development for 9 years plus. It's in version 2.6.0 beta, but this world that I'm playing in is 2.3, and I don't intend to update essentially ever, because in modded Minecraft, if you update things, you can have bad things happen, and I like not having bad things happen. Once 2.6 is out of beta, I might do some hardcore runs in 2.6. That has some interest for me. It has a quest book, which has a lot of quests. I don't remember the number of quests, but there are, this page has 45 quests, and I've completed them all. This page has 28 quests, and I haven't even unlocked 2 of them. Or maybe more, I don't know exactly. This page, 86, and so forth and so forth. I think of myself as being in the MV stage. Medium voltage is what that stands for. Except that I've gone out of medium voltage a few times for a few machines because I wanted them. So for example, this multi-block miner is probably an EV machine. And you wouldn't be able to build that in the medium voltage tier. But I really wanted it, so I spent the time and resources and built the progression to the point where I could have it, because I wanted that ore tripling. Where, if I had dug up a iron ore and then I had crushed it in the macerator, I would have gotten 2 of these crushed iron ore. With this multi-block miner, I get 6, which, hey, more resources means less going around and trying to find them and pick them up. And also, you're not wasting the resources that you do have access to. It's kind of a strange idea because you can make resources with bees, and you don't have to dig for those either. I could show you where I've got some bees producing titanium combs, but once you get the titanium combs, you actually have to process those to utilize them. So it's not like the bee just spits out processed titanium. The bee gives you a comb. You have to take the comb and mix it with acids, and then you have to smelt them, the resulting ore down and whatnot and whatnot. It's, like you said, it's got a modded bent to it. I don't know that this is the most heavily modded pack. I would rather doubt it. I would think that there's going to be some mod pack that's going to be much more modded than this, but this is the one I choose to play because I think no matter how far I go, there will always be another thing to do in this pack. When I play vanilla, I kind of feel like there's nothing new to do, and I don't like that. In Gregtech New Horizons, Gregtech being the central mod to the New Horizons pack, there's always more things to do, including getting stuck on ghost blocks. Because, of course. Okay. Please, computer, show me where the block is. Oh. Fun. Looks like I missed some blocks over here. else? Nope. So I'm almost down to the normal Y level for water. I'm kind of interested in showing off a little bit about bees at this point, so I think I'm going to go do that instead of continuing to mine and mine and mine and mine and mine some more. It looks like my bags are also full, so this is a good time. Hi, cool teacher. Welcome in. How are you? So over here, we have some beehives, some apiaries, and they are producing these titanium combs for me. And if you look down in the lower right, you'll see that I have 325 stacks of combs at this point. And I need to process those into titanium. I think pretty soon I'm just going to be completely full, and the bees are just going to spend time doing their bee things and not getting any more additional titanium for me. That sounds very nice, cool teacher. Although it sounds like maybe you're warm teacher today, which is not a bad thing. But I was telling you about the ore processing. This is where the ore processing is happening. And these are the storage units I have for all the various intermediate resources. So they're not like raw ores, but they're now, for example, barium ingots or copper ingots or zinc ingots, Certus quartz dust, tin ingots, and so forth and so forth and so forth. Wait, what's wrong with dad jokes? I mean, I am a dad. I am a grandpa. Aren't dad jokes just par for the course? Why are we booing? Is it just because you didn't think of it yourself? I think I'm going to choose to think that the reason you're booing is because you didn't think of the joke first. Let's go put all this little bit of stone that I have away. Ay, ay, ay. Drama much, Major? I'm going to go with yes. Major does drama much. So these backpacks, if you shift right click them on the various storage devices, will empty out into the storage device for you, so you don't have to individually pick up the stone, take it out of the bag, put it in your inventory, take it out of your inventory, and store it in the various chests and crates and drawers and so forth and so forth. No, only on days that end in Y, Major. Only on days that end in Y. So obviously not today. Well, maybe today. But not tomorrow. Get some more food. Get the food working. Put the food away. Go play with some bees. So I think the last thing I did with bees previously was to put everything away in preparation for the next bee. Oh, and I just got rid of all of my experience by storing it in the experience obelisk, which is nice because then if you die, you still have your experience. You don't have to lose a bunch of it. So we're making a Certus bee, which requires lapis and hermetic. So I think they're not gonna be where I expect them to be. They're gonna be in here. I already got ready. I do need to put these things away. Well, I suppose I could just keep them forever, but I'd like to put them away. Hey, John, explain what you're doing. Well, I'm sleeping. That's easy. No, the clay that I picked up, I decided to put into here, into my stream grinder, in order to get clay dust. I don't keep a bunch of clay. I don't need the dried out clay, which is now called terracotta. But in this version of Minecraft, it was dried clay or something. It was stained clay. There was clay and stained clay. Hardened clay, maybe. At any rate, I don't want all these other clays. I'm just putting them all down into clay dust to keep them sorted and not have a whole bunch of them stacked up. And then the lapis block, you can't pick up a lapis block and deconstruct it like you can in Minecraft. You can't go up to a crafting grid, pick an empty one, and craft lapis into a block. You actually have to use a machine to do that. The recipe has been Gregified, so to speak. Didn't put clay dust away because I didn't put it in the right chest. Okay, now it's put away. But, oh, and I made the joke before that I'm looking at a little bit of an emerald storm here, because one of the things that I recently mined a bunch of was emeralds. And so now I have one or two of them. Maybe. She found it funny. I found it funny. Maybe it's not funny. I don't know. But we'll go over here and we'll go do some bee breeding. So, to do some bee breeding, we'll get the lapis and hermetic. We'll start with the hermetic and we'll go with these Rocky Princess. The Rocky Princess is the factory that we're going to program to become a hermetic bee in order to breed up the Certus bee in the future. First, you go through and you create a queen, and then you use that queen to quickly create offspring, and then the genetics will be a mix of the hermetic and the Rocky. And you do this over and over until instead of having a Rocky Princess and a hermetic drone, you have hermetic Princess and hermetic drone. And you just kind of get rid of all the intermediate drones that you don't need. Although I don't do a very good job of getting rid of them. I actually store them. I have a little bit of storage dedicated to bees. I have a few bees. I have too many bees. I have way too many bees. But that's okay. Everyone should have the inability to throw away things, I think. In reality, those bees can be used later on as a source of genetic material. I don't have access to the machines that use genetic materials to make new bees, But someday I will, and so someday I'll want those drones or not. Someday I might just come through here and put them all to the torch. I don't know. But as you can see, the queen has now become a hermetic queen, which is what we were going for. And we'll know that it's a fully purebred hermetic queen when the drones that she produces from the crossbreeding and the death and the rebirth cycle all stack up with these drones. And that just happened. So we will put this on pause so it doesn't automatically pull and push the bees again. And if after 2 generations they all stack, then we are done turning the rocky princess into a hermetic princess. And then we'll crossbreed the hermetic princess with a lapis drone in order to get a Certus, and it will require a Certus quartz block as a foundation. I didn't bring that. I need to go make that. I think it's just 9 Certus quartz in a compressor. It's 4. Well, that will be easy. And those all stacked, which means we can put those bees away. And we can get the lapis drone out. And we can go get the Certus quartz, so that when we do the crossbreeding, they can actually breed and mutate into the new bee. The reason I'm doing this bee breeding is to get the trait blinding for the production speed. Certus quartz, if I have any, would be here. Don't see that shape here, so it's going to be over in the processing or processing and storage. It's going to be in the deep storage, so to speak. What a nice little robot. You're the best robot there ever was. Are you Certus quartz? You are. We will need 4. We have 2. Take a crate. We'll unbox the crate by putting it in the machine. The machine will debox it over time. And we'll get it out. We'll stick the crate back into processing, and we'll take those Certus quartz and create a Certus quartz block. And then we can breed up the new bee. 40 seconds to do a process. Maybe I should build a faster unpackager. Maybe I should have an advanced one. I typically am not waiting on it though, so it's not a big deal. So we only need 4 of these, so we'll take 4. We'll stick the extras somewhere to be put away. And we'll stick the extra crate somewhere to be put away as well. And then back to our previously scheduled creating Certus quartz block, which will happen up at the second base I have. So it'd be nice if I could just put it into a 4x4 and get a Certus quartz block out of it, but that's not the way it happens in here. You do that and you get nothing. So we go to our squisher and we put it in the squisher, and the squasher processes for 22 seconds at 3 EU per tick, using hundreds and hundreds of EU, I assume, and providing us the output we need, the Certus quartz block. Sortis quartz being the one of the building blocks for Applied Energistics 2, which is one of the big mods in this pack that I'd like to have access to, but I'm not there yet. It appears an Enderman has been here. Gotta love Enderman. They're the best. Something. Something, something. How long have I been playing this world? 53 days, 0.77. Since August 23. And I've scratched the surface. Just scratched the surface, literally. There is so much to do in this pack. So we got our 10% chance, which the 10% is kind of a misnomer because there's 2 chances per bee that you create. And since I created 5 bees, that's 10%, 20%, 30%, 40%, 50%, 60%, 70%, 80%, 90%, 100%. So there's roughly a 1 in 1 chance that one of the 5 bees will have the Certus Quartz moniker on it, even though it says it's a 10% chance. Which is nice that they will end up giving you one generally on one thing. Then we'll get our bee analyzer and we'll sleep before the alarm goes off and says you're not sleeping. I actually set up an alarm nearby so that if I forget to sleep, it'll blare at me and say, hey, why aren't you sleeping? But we'll analyze these bees and see which bees are best to breed in order to get the Certus Quartz. And we'll also dig out the healing frames. So we were very interested in getting that mutation to get the Certus Quartz, but I don't want to continue mutating bees, and these healing frames prevent mutation. So I'm putting the queen back in with my Certus Quartz, and I won't get any new mutations, but I'll hopefully keep the mutation that I got. And then we'll once again just get rid of the drones. And they're not being actually disposed of right now. They're going into this backpack, and then from the backpack, I'll put them into the storage later. Do you want to see all the various things that I've built over time, Major? Or should I just continue playing with my bees? Yes, but the only reason I'm streaming is because you're watching. So, my original base, after I left Spawn and ran away from Spawn, because Spawn seemed like a bad place, it was the middle of a desert. I got to this area and I started building. I had access to water, which is important. I had picked up a few things. I got some berry bushes growing. And then I created some farms. We got some cows and chickens, although, are the chickens all gone? No, the chickens aren't all gone. Okay, good. And pigs and sheep. All of the sheep looks like were let out by an Enderman. Thank you, Enderman, for letting out the sheep. And then several of the sheep got stuck with the cows, which I guess is good. From here, I built the basics of tech. I actually had my first machines out here to make more processing more quickly. And I would dig holes into the ground to do my mining, similar to this one. where I would mine down below. Nowadays I have an automated miner do that for me, and I have a lot more machines. And then I've got all my various crops up here. And there are a lot of modded crops, which is kind of good, kind of bad. You can see the evidence of one of the machines right there. That's a charcoal pile igniter. It makes wood into charcoal. I didn't end up digging up the last set of charcoal I made there. So there's a bunch of charcoal underground, I suspect, right there. I've got some paper trees. I've got a rubber tree. I've got some animal traps, which I suspect are all empty because I haven't used them in forever. Here's that daylight alarm I told you about earlier. This is the Hall of Oopses. There was lots of mistakes made, and so when I made a mistake, I wrote down, you know, a little short blurb of don't do this again. After being in this base for a while, I had some mobs causing me problems and essentially griefing me, and I didn't want to lose my base. So I started building resources to make a second base up in the sky. So that's when I started building this staircase up to the sky. And it was before I had these high-speed boots, which there's a substantial difference in speed. We'll just be done with that. And up here, I built an area where I could grow tall trees. Once again, I had an area where I could make charcoal, but I haven't used it forever. I have some other farms that I grew. And then I started putting my storage up here. I put a little landing area, you know, before my storage, although the storage kind of grew into this area. I built my smeltery, which was an early way of creating things that I didn't have easy access to or had no access to, including the tinker's tools. I built a little house up here where, because this is a jungle for part of it, occasionally a cat will just spawn up here, which is fun. Well, no, not a cat. The ocelots will spawn up here. And then you can, you know, feed them a fish, and then you'll have a cat. There was a lot of steam machines at one point. There was a huge steam tank here at one point. No, it was here. And then I started building my low voltage machines, and then I finally moved into higher voltage, so medium voltage machines. And then I've got a few high voltage machines here and there. A couple there. This is where fuel is processed and where benzene is created. These are my higher voltage machines here. There's a clean room here for making circuits in my circuit assembler. A little window to look out of the clean room. Power coming into the clean room, and various things inside, like wafers, RAM, and logic circuits. These are advanced coke ovens, so it turns my spruce into charcoal. The spruce being grown in the spruce bonsai form here. And then underneath, can I get to him? I think I can. Yeah, I can. I have these automated farmers that produce the spruce for me. And then the conduits pull the spruce out. No, the clean room is a 100% requirement. So if we look at the recipe for some of these circuits, you'll see that it says needs clean room. If you try to build them in anything but a clean room, they just won't exist. The machine will process it and give you no output. And if the clean room is not at 100% efficiency, you'll have a between 0% and 100% chance, depending on the efficiency of the clean room, of actually getting an output. Very early on, my clean room wasn't set up correctly and I lost some parts, so now I'm very, very careful when I'm using my clean room to make sure that it's effectively using the efficiency's full, and then I make my parts and pieces. But here's the clean room controller, and it's currently happy. But it does have a little alarm set up on it, so that if the efficiency goes below 100%, this alarm will sound and I'll know to come over and make repairs. It is quite the involved pack. Because you need oxygen and hydrogen for various ingots you make, this is a little fluid machine that takes water out of this rain barrel essentially and gets me oxygen and hydrogen, which I then use over here in my electronic blast furnace, where I've got lots of oxygen, to create ingots. Hi Shro, how are you? How was the rest of your rocketing with Rocket in the leagues? Did you take the title cup? But yeah, you need various materials to make various materials to make various things. So one of the examples, this machine's currently active. You did not win a lot. Well, that means you won some, so you're still a winner. But this machine turns silver ore, so the raw ore, into purified silver ore and silver dust. And I can take my silver dust and I can stick it into the steam oven, which you can think of as a multi-use furnace, and it will give me steam silver ingots out. And then I picked up some stone dust, and I'm just putting the stone dust away in this chest, where I have 22,000 stone dust, which, just a little bit, right? But yeah, this is my second base, essentially, with my chest monsters. And, Shro, you might get this joke. What do you see here? Does it look like it's an emerald storm to you? And all these different dusts and sands, and my ingots, and my beer and wine. Yes, the puns. I don't think people would recognize me if I wasn't willing to make puns. I don't have a little black kitty yet, which is sad. I just have these two. My kitties, my grandkitties in the real world, they are little black kitties. But I don't have one in the game. I do have bees though. I have lots of bees. I have bees here. I have bees there. I have bees everywhere. This is the tainted swarm that Emerald encouraged me to go pick up and keep. She named it, I believe it's Shawarma, but I could be wrong. Here's my tainted pig. Ah! By the way, it's bad to get close to the tainted swarm. Here's my tainted pig. He's not a very good-looking, healthy pig. but his name is the Big Bad Wolf, or no, not the Big Bad Wolf. His name is Big Bad Wolf, and this is Fern, math girl named Fern. Fern's a tainted chicken. Fern is a very, very aggressive chicken. Here's a little bit of the initial area where I was growing trees and breeding trees and other plants. Here's where my witchery stuff is set up, because everyone needs to have a witch's cauldron, right? And a little little altar with various implements on their altar for witches. My steel production has stopped because it's overflowed its outputs, so we'll start it back up. I can make steel another way, but this is kind of the slow and low power way that doesn't take much thought because it's already ready to go. I just have to pick up the results and put them away, and occasionally refill the iron ingots that go into it. So I'll do that real quick since I noticed that it was stalled. Let's see here. Iron. We went and visited the tainted biome in order to pick up those creatures. I actually have a tainted spider that I haven't put away, but I'm not interested in playing with a tainted spider right now. This is my villager stronghold that I made. Prior to there being a stronghold built by me here, there was a village. I replaced the village with a stronghold to protect the villagers from mobs. So there's a village worth of villagers in there. This is my third area where I created a base. The only real issue with this area is that it's not really set up for chunk loading very well. It's primarily topped with farms. Automated farms, once again. So, tree farm, nether stone lilies. So this makes basically netherrack. Salt root, this makes sodium chloride, potassium chloride, and saltpeter. These are black stone lilies. This makes basalt dust. And then glowing earth coral. This basically makes glowstone dust. And then over here, I really like this fun building material called holystone. When you walk on it, it makes the twinkle toes noises, or whatever noise you want to call that. I don't know why putting feathers and stone together gives you this combination, but it does. But underneath it here is my ore processing, and the farm here produces all the oak, so the wood needed to power it, and then there's sugar beets over here to produce the oxygen to also power it. And then underneath in here, because I have elevators, I can just go down. I've got some automated processing machine lines here, which turn the wood, saplings, glowing coral, salty roots, black granite dust, and netherrack dust into other various materials and stores them for me. And with the exception of the ruby, well, no, by this point the ruby's probably full too. Yeah, so all of these are 64 stacks full of materials, and they're all overflowing essentially. Okay, the aluminum's not overflowing yet, but that's okay. Everything else is, I think. The little robot is a gardener. I really appreciate all the gardening he does for me. He will take these crops and he'll create more of them. which is something that's quite tedious to do by hand, but the robot will do it pretty much for you. Similarly, processing all this material by hand is something that's slow and a challenge to do, but I have machines that do it all for me down here, automated up so that they'll do the work for me. And then this runs all the time because it's on a server, and I've got the chunk loaders, so these are always processing my materials for me all the time, which is really nice. And then further down below, I've got some more processing. This is an algae pond, essentially, that produces algae. And then the algae is used to make, in this chemical plant, to make sulfuric acid, which is used up in the ore processing to make other things. The sulfuric acid is used to make, here, sodium bisulfate. The sodium bisulfate is electrolyzed into sodium persulfate. The sodium persulfate is used to purify ores and produce extra resources. I think I may have got a issue here. I think purified copper isn't going anywhere. Where should it go? Purified copper should go into a thermal centrifuge. So the reason it's not being processed is because the thermal centrifuge is full and stuck. So it is appropriately set up. I just don't have enough thermal centrifuges to keep up with all the materials. Well, that's okay, because eventually it will get done. But before I did all the, before I was showing off the bases, Shro, if you're still here, I was breeding up some bees over by my original base, which takes quite a bit as far as I'm concerned. But it's alright. You just come into the bee breeding safety box and you breed up some bees. So let's look at these bees. That one has lapis, but not... Okay, so if we look at these bees, the drones are the ones that are programming. You'll see up at the top under species that the bee that's currently being analyzed is a lapis and hermetic, which is not as good as the lapis certus bee, because what I want is a pure certus bee. So of these 4 drones that I have, the closest to a pure certus bee is this lapis drone. So I will breed these 2 together in order to get a more pure certus bee. And these other ones that are lapis hermetic, hermetic, and lapis hermetic again, we will just toss into the bee bag. And the way I toss them into the bee bag is to just toss them out of my inventory, and my magnet picks them up and puts them in the appropriate bag, which you guys are used to because you've seen Vault Hunters, where a very similar mechanic is at play. Yes, the BBSB, which is the bee breeding safety box. No mobs allowed. Although some of the bees require nether wart, so that's here. Some of the bees require cobblestone, so that's here. Some of the bees want flowers, so that's here. And underneath, we have the final thing some bees need, which is wheat. And we will sleep. In fact, to make sleeping easier in the future, we will get out our sleeping bag. And then for making bee breeding easier, we will put those there. Put that away to be put away later. We will pick up these drones. So unfortunately, our queen, our princess, our factory, however you want to think about it, has gotten to the mindset that it only wants to have 2 bees when it's done making baby bees. You can see the fertility 2 bees. And we'd really rather prefer to have 4 bees be its fertility, because having 4 bees to choose from is better than having 2 bees to choose from. So I'm going to breed this bee with some bees that definitely have 4 offspring. And we'll get this to the point where it's no longer making bees that have not enough offspring to really choose from. Because if you don't have the 4 offspring, you might lose the genetics that you care about. And then you have to start over for that species. Which nobody wants to have to start over with new bees. More bees, not fewer bees. Bee breeding. Wow. That's kind of fun. Are we getting purebreds? Nope. Nope. And nope. Okay. So they're all going to be about the same. So how's the rest of your day going, Shro? As we make our princess happy princess. That's actually a really decent bee, except for the wheat. Looks like all of them want wheat, which is too bad. Maybe my hermetics want wheat too. Maybe that makes sense. So what's the difference between these guys? Not much. So that one's a little better. Very similar but not identical bees. What is different between these? Seems like nothing. Probably just the order of their traits showing up in their genetics. The dominant and recessive genes are switched, essentially, probably. And what do we have here? Wow. Further non-stacking. Okay, so these are not as good. These are probably not as good. And we'll put that away. When are you going to become the hermetic queen that you should be? Conversely, would it be better to do a lapis? It would be better to do lapis. Okay, well now I know. Those stack with those. They do. Okay. So we'll put those together now, because The lapis doesn't want wheat, it wants flowers, and flowers are substantially easier to deal with than wheat. Then we'll identify these guys. So these are not as good either. That Certus Gregine is just sticking around like really strongly. Hey, look, flowers. I like it. Better be. So yes, when you're breeding your bees, you have to watch out for the negative traits that you don't want. So the only 2 bees per generation, or the not temperature resilient, or they don't have the ability to work at night, or they don't have the ability to work underground, or they don't have the ability to work during rain. All of these things, there are bees that are less willing to work for you just because they basically want their own stuff. These 2 might be better bees. I should look at them, not just toss them. So, very similar, slightly better. So we'll get the slightly better bee and keep it. And it looks like we're out of Certus bees at this point. But I think while I'm just going to continue to do bee breeding in the future, I'm going to do this off stream. Unless there's anything else that people really want to see, in which case I could do that. I just need to know about it first. So if anybody's interested in something specific, speak now or forever hold your peace, so to speak. Alright, Major. I'm probably going to be done here really soon, so that's okay. Take care and have a nice day. And thank you for being here. Yep, I'll probably see you around soon. I'm probably going to do streaming on the weekends primarily. So maybe I'll see you next weekend. I'll probably see you in another stream sooner than that, though. You know how that goes. Alright. I am going to call it here. Thank you, everyone, for showing up. I appreciate you chit-chatting. I appreciate the follows. Take care, everyone. Have a great time. And I'll see you around. Bye-bye.